and welcome to Peatrie's Picks for our 47th auction here at Scotch Whisky Auctions. We've got our usual lineup of amazing drams that we're going to take you through, some of our favourites for this auction, and then, well, you can get bidding. Tomorrow we go live, exciting whisky. We have a great auction. We have an absolutely wonderful auction. This auction is crammed with some really brilliant whisky, and hopefully we can take you through, get your appetite whetted, and you can get in, have a look around, and get some great whisky. We thought we'd start with, well, it's pretty simple. It's the oldest bottle we have in this auction. It's from Macallan. It's a Macallan 1937 in this wonderful Edinburgh crystal decanter. This one is a real heavyweight, literally from the lovely heavyweight decanter that it's in, but also distilled in 1937. It's sat patiently for over 30 years. Fabulous whisky from Macallan. Next up we go to another distillery, a great aging, great whisky, well known, a lovely whisky, Highland Park. Formerly the most northerly whisky distillery, single malt whisky, Scotch distillery in the world. Now the most northerly of the Scotch distilleries for the moment. We have this one here, 1964 from the Arcadian collection, one of only 290 bottles released. This is the oldest of the official Arcadian collection. It comes in this wonderful dark bottle with the packaging that they have, these excellent intricate designs. But we thought, you know, this is the oldest official bottling. Why not have something a bit older? Because we can do that. We have the depth to be able to bring you something a bit different. And here we have the Dragon. Again, Highland Park, but this one distilled in 1961. Bottled at 48.1%. This gives you another great insight into the distillery. So two very different, very old expressions of the same distillery. Such is the depth of this auction that we've had to create and take some multiple bottles here. So I'm going to try and take you through them, try and keep you interested because of the volume of whisky that we have available for you. Over 2,000 lots this month with great depth. There's the usual drinking drams, the great stuff that you can open with friends, and then there's the investment stuff and the kind of special occasion drams. Next up we have, well, you know we like Kurosawa here. Kurosawa and Scotch Whisky Auctions becoming quite synonymous. Here we have a lovely 32-year-old from the No range from Kurosawa. Bottled at 32 years old and still retains quite a heft, an alcoholic 63%. This wonderful dark sherry cask with that continuing beautiful range from the No, with all those masks or performers from No Theatre. If you ever get the chance to go and see No Theatre, go and see it. Fantastic stuff. Caught it at the Edinburgh Festival a couple of years ago. Next up we have Little Mini. I say Little Mini, they don't come much better than this. This is again a Kurosawa from 1964. This beautifully designed Little Mini of perfection contains some of the oldest whisky produced in Japan, that's been bottled from Japan. Cracking little lot, comes with its nice little wooden box. And the big explosion from Japanese whisky, very much down to No. 1 Drinks Company and their importing of it. So here we have the Founder's Cask. This was selected by the directors of No. 1 Drinks Company, bottled at 60.8%. This is, I wish I could show you how dark this is. You can't see through this. Fabulous, dark, intense whisky. A beautiful example of why this distillery is doing so well at auction just now, and why it's so tasty as well. Sticking with Japan, we have another great blend here, but this is a blended whisky this time. This is the Nika 40. It's 40 years old, but that's only because the youngest whisky in it has to be mentioned. That's why it's 40 years old. The oldest whisky in this blend was distilled in 1945 in Japan. Seriously aged whisky. Next up from the two distilleries, Yoichi and Miyagikyo. The Miyagikyo was from 1965. Some of the first spirit to run off the stills is in this beautifully packaged, wonderful whisky. Only 200 bottles of this were available in Europe, so if you missed out the first time round, this is bottled 430. Now's your chance to grab, we say that phrase, I say this phrase all the time, liquid history. But this has some of the first, I'll repeat that, some of the first whisky to run off the stills from Miyagikyo. These wonderfully packaged whiskies some beautiful designs on them. And then there's Glenfarclas. Now, that's not to say that Glenfarclas isn't beautifully designed, but some whiskies shout about what they've got. They're ostentatious. They're telling you, we are the greatest whisky in the world. And then there's Glenfarclas, probably Spaceside's finest distillery. And they just get on with it. There's this kind of attitude of, we don't need to shout, we're Glenfarclas. For example, it's lovely 1966 Fino cask. It's bottled in 2013. No age statement, that kind of buzzword, that kind of violently people no age statement. This has no age statement on it. It does have it distilled in a bottle date, so you can work the age out for yourself. But this just gets on nice, simple, clean, all about the whisky. Now we're all about that whisky here at Scotch Whisky Auctions, and keeping in with that, another one from Glenfarclas, but this one distilled in 1954. It was bottled in 2000. No age statement needed, because again, they no need to shout about it. This is Glenfarclas, you know what you're getting. Beautiful, aged, sherried whisky from that region, well known, fabulous dram. Now, there's a lot of whisky behind me here, as you can see. We've tried to show you as many of these bottles as possible, and the reason for that is it's not our biggest ever auction, but this auction is deep with quality. For example, we have 25 Port Ellens in this auction. We have 1 to 13 from the special releases. Of the Kurosawas, we have 56 Kurosawas from 1972 all the way up to more recent releases from were distilled in 1981. We have a Strathisla from 1949. Ardbeg, we didn't get any Ardbeg up there. We have 13 of the Ardbeg single cask release. We've got a Talisker that's 34 years old, comes in a lovely big bit at the prow of a ship. We have a wonderful Nika Pillar selection, which has a magic box that you can move around and display your whisky in many different ways. And we have 1937. That's the oldest that we have. But we also have whisky from 1939 and 1940. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a whisky auction of real depth, real quality and real class. So please get in, have a look around, and remember, Scotch Whisky Auctions, don't lose your bottle.